everybody.
Full house.
You are like non-existently quiet.
Probably better if I'm here. Somebody wanted me to record music this afternoon, and so I had to use my board for recording that which is coming off of the board in a loop. Am I better?
Yes.
Maybe I can do this and then do this and then do this and do this. Am I starting to ring? No, I'm not ringing. No, I'm ringing a little. There. Better? Am I still... Can you hear me okay, Pepper?
I can hear you fine. I don't hear ringing. I hear music.
Well, the new rig that this is set up at has the speaker, one of the speakers right here. And if I turn up the microphone gain too much, it comes out of the speaker and goes into the microphone and makes a brrr, brrr every time I talk. And I can hear it chattering.
Okay.
So the mystery of Bob has been solved, and I am saddened by it.
What? Did you reach out and finally talk to him, or?
I can't. He blocked me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No.
So I think what has occurred is that somewhere along the line, we were too liberal for him. And he blocked us. Which saddens me more than anything.
Well, we still have Brent.
Yep, we still got Brent.
I don't have fear because Brent is here.
It's true. You are not incorrect. I am missing the censorship bar on this page. There. As was I. So,
Oh. Glad to hear that you got your 3D printers back up and running, Brent.
yes, sir. I'm going through and censoring my artwork real quick here. So censored. Unbelievably, I had uncensored artwork for a while there on the air this morning. Unbelievably.
It must have happened after I left this.
I didn't notice that there was anything that was supposed to be censored.
Well,
I thought you were in a hangar the entire time.
I was, but when I go back out to the main page, the first part of the story is here, where Captain Chang is completely naked the entire time. Page 15 is a... Oh, that's a splash. That's why. I'm going to make that splash at some point. But not today, because I wanted to try to get through to 24. All right, we need to build a specialized zone for this. Things could get pretty gross here in a second. So all of these extra cool parts came in today for my dad's guitar.
Cool.
Like a titanium nut for it on the back, because the little back piece that where the strings come off of the winder thingies and go up onto the neck, that part broke. And so I was like, oh, I need a new one. And so I ordered one that was titanium. And I'm like, well, that one won't break, because the one that was on there was plastic and probably from 1967 or something equally cute, because that's when Dad got that guitar. Guitar has probably not been strung up since the 60s, maybe the 70s. I think I remember my dad stringing it up in the 70s. So I get my own camera with it every time. Ah, there we go.
What's up? Guy? What's up? You seem like you have something you want to say.
I am looking for my technical manual's deck plans.
Ah.
I mean, other than I'm annoyed by the whole Bob thing, but I mean, other than that.
I'll talk to you later about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's really all I got on my mind. It is weighing heavy on me, though.
I'm assuming that you know more, Cayen.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't do anything to him, did I?
Just
No.
totally you.
Okay. That'd be fine. I don't even know what it was about. So we're good.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 meters wide. Sweep deck's really not that big, is it? I do have to figure out a place to stick Alex logically. Originally, I had her in the VIP quarters, but now I'm thinking she might just join. And if she joins, then they're going to stick her in enlisted. But if they stick her in enlisted, she's going to have 3 other roommates, which makes it difficult for her to talk to the imaginary cat. Without them thinking she's insane, naturally.
Do you have spare officer quarters?
Yeah, that's the problem is, I mean, like, there's not a lot of spare anything on here. It's a very small ship. So I'm kind of wondering, I've got 2 sweep areas up here, which are empty areas.
What I mean is if, like, they have an area for dignitaries, right?
Yeah, we have VIP. There are 2 VIP quarters on either side.
Right. So what if the VIP area was, like, being in use, but they had, like, potentially three people that needed different spaces for VIP. But the least important one would get, like, not the grand room, but maybe like a separate room that wasn't so grand. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like, I could just stick her in the VIP quarters until they come up with a plan. I guess. I mean, really, honestly, we have 45 people on board, right? That's 3 shifts, 48. 8 officers, 32 enlisted, and 8 Marines. So it's really about 10 people per shift to run the ship. Give or take. So 10 plus 2 officers on a shift. So 12 of those people each time on each shift. You could have, and then like some specialty jobs. Like we were talking about a hospitality officer. Whose whole job is to make sure that you're, you know, the sort of take the quartermaster plus the, you know, so the quartermaster usually would be the guy who like issues you a room on a ship. And I'm like sitting there going, well, you know, there's like a number of jobs that he could do, they could do. And by the way, Pepper, thank you for chiming in on that thread. You said a lot of stuff that I knew, but I didn't want to say because it's your story to tell, not mine. You know what I mean? But, you know, he was doing the, you're not a real person if you use, you know, if you don't use your real name. Sort of, he didn't really say that, but he was hedging towards it.
Well, I mean, I knew what he was talking about, but also I don't think he's a person that's ever been in a position where their name is actually being used in a negative connotation.
Exactly.
So for him to not know, I think personal experience is actually something that should have been in account for for how you answer that. I don't think he's wrong, but honestly, I think he should have asked if there was anything that maybe someone may have been looking at when choosing to go by a different name.
Yeah, part of the standing problem with that one is that Kat was on there, and Kat is recently transitioned, and that's one of her big pet peeves is that, especially in the NDK community, where we've known her by as a him for 20 years now, and Kat transitioned and is now a her. This is disturbing for her because she's still in the post, that like all those eddies and whirls and stuff like that, and she's on that thread, and I'm like, well, okay, but because he was saying, they're all trolling me, and I'm like, they're not trolling you. Nobody here's a troll.
Well, I
You
mean,
come across kind
I
of
don't,
abrupt.
I don't think that any of them are trolls, and I don't think he was either. I think it's a lot of misinterpretation of a lot of different people trying to say.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was trying to say to him, and he was doing a classic thing that he does. Because I was trying to say to him, I was like, look, just you need to reword what you said, because you've come across a little harsher, and the people are responding. And he's like, I don't need to reword what I said. I said what I meant to say, and they're being trolls. And I'm like, no, you need to calm down and kind of get back into this one again. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
try
I
it
mean,
again.
I also pointed out that, like, in my family when I was growing up, I grew up Catholic.
You did.
Yep. And at 14, 15 years old, you actually go through this thing called, I forget
I know what you're talking about. Confirmation.
yeah, confirmation.
It took me a second, but I got it.
Yeah, you choose your own name. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. You choose your own name, and that name is actually what is registered into the Catholic Church as you, as a parishioner attending Catholic Mass.
Sure.
That is your official religious name. And that is actually what the church uses. Family history wise, for some people, for some parts of my family, that was when people actually got a name. Because there's a part of my family that they began life as one name and they switched it after confirmation.
Yep.
Like legally switched it. So like I said, it's everyone has a story for the reason why their name changes. So
yeah, I really was just simply saying well, really what I was doing was talking about a thing that's going on in Picard, but that's okay. It's hedging. But all I was saying was I like the term dead naming because it keeps me in line.
It may be, unfortunately, but what are you trying to ask? I'm sorry, Cayen.
Well, I was going to bring in another point.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, for me, I effectively have two very different names that I go by.
Mm-hmm.
And, both are active, but it could very easily change at some point in my life. And that's the other thing that doesn't get taken into account is sometimes your name changes.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It's not that I'm trying to hide something or something like that. It's that Cayen for me has been a name I've been cultivating on the internet for years, and that's going to change things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, legitimately, I think he's working on some family tradition that he operates on, and that's okay. I just think that I'm curious. I was curious where he was coming from.
Actually, the thing that he
Good night,
quoted.
Travis.
Good night. The thing that he quoted. Actually, I have heard that before, but it's in like basically it's in the connotation of someone who basically changes their name to escape the wrongdoings that they've done.
Yeah.
Um, that's on how it's explained to me. Um, some people just don't do the wrongdoings. Some people just want to change their name.
Some people just want to change. Some people juggle geese.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's and part of the reason why he was getting the reaction he was getting was because he was implying that people who changed their name were escaping themselves or escaping some aspect of themselves. But of course, specifically in trans people, they're not escaping so much as walking away from the wrong body type, the wrong person, the wrong human, whatever that human was. But on the other hand, I'm kind of like thinking about a couple of these things, and I mean, it's back to what my buddy Evan had said at one point in time when I was saying, wouldn't it be nice if they found a gene that was, that proved that homosexuality was genetic? And he said, no, because it doesn't matter whether it's a gene or a choice. I should have the right to make that choice.
There have been stories written in the LGBTQ plus community about that and it going horribly wrong.
You mean
Where
them finding out it's
people,
biological?
yeah, where
Yeah,
they prove
if
that
I
it's
mean, that's the other thing is
biological.
that if they find out that it's biological, then they're going to try to find a cure. And
No, it's not about finding a cure. It's they literally start aborting force abortions of the carriers of the gene.
right.
So
But
you don't know whether or not that
you're
child will turn out that way,
you're
but
you're
they're aborting it because they have the gene.
you're
That's it.
heading off of my point, though. You're taking us down you're rabbit holing us, because I actually had a point that I was headed for, and that's the valid point, is that it doesn't matter. If you want to be called Pepper, that's your choice, and it shouldn't matter at all. None of that should matter. You know what I mean? Like whether you chose it because it's a Thursday and that's the reason you chose to name yourself Pepper, or whether you chose it because your original name was, Genghis Khan, and you didn't want to necessarily be associated with Genghis Khan. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing that kind of makes me think about this, is that it's like, if your name that you were given, ends up being something that just doesn't fit you for whatever reason, that's your reason. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right. You should be free to live your life however you want. You want to be involved with your same gender, that's your business. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be biological. That's the thing that he was saying to me, and that took another couple of years before I finally grasped what he was saying. You know what I mean? Like, it took me time to understand that, because I was like, but it would solve all the problems, and he wasn't even going down the rabbit hole you were. Because, I mean, he didn't even go to that spot. That's also a very legitimate concern. That said, it's, that wasn't where he was going. He was just simply saying, you should have that choice. That should be your right. It's your right to live your life your way, whatever way that is,
Mm.
If you choose to go by the name, Burble Slop, that's your name. That's your choice.
That's a horrible name.
I know. I don't know why they named me that. It's so sad. That's why I go by Guy. It's not really.
I mean, if you want to go by Burgle Slap, I'm not going to stop you.
You're not going to stop me. Because you're a nice person. That's why.
No, I'm just going to try to figure out on how you're going to tell your wife that you want to be called Burgle Slap now.
I know, right? Things get ugly now.
Mm.
I can already envision the look she will give me, which is pretty much no. I think the funniest part is I keep talking about how my wife has a caricature that's nothing like her in real life. It's my favorite thing. This caricature of her denying stuff and saying you can't do that. In reality, she's nothing like that. If I wanted to be called that name, she'd be like, oh, okay. I think whoever lives in this officer's quarters right here, like, sneaks off to the pool every night. Splish. Just gonna say that. I'm just gonna say that now.
What was that?
I don't know. Somebody squeaked something.
That would be my pen. I didn't realize it was loud enough to be heard.
And that's how we stopped being friends.
Good night, Travis.
I think he disappeared a while back. I mean, that's not to say that you can't say goodnight, certainly.
I'm kind of off in a world when, because I only have one monitor.
It's all understandable.
No.
Oops, I just cut myself off. I have to bring that back up.
What kind of trouble you causing over there, Pepper?
I'm just writing.
Fair. Then I will try not to disturb you too much.
kind of a weird, quiet night tonight.
Mm-hmm. I just don't have a whole lot to say at the moment. Mostly because just watched an episode of Picard, and I really, really, really want to talk about it, but can't. Because somebody in this room has not seen it.
I know, but I just don't watch Picard.
Alright, well, apparently I'm way more tired than I thought I was. I'm gonna have to call it.
It may be the end for you, huh?
Yeah. So, I will talk to y'all later.
That
Okay.
worked for me. I will see you at the later debut.
Yeah.
Good night.
See ya, Pepper.
See ya.
We're back to all the can all the time thing too, so I'll reassess that. You must have logged out and logged back in somewhere along the line.
No, I accidentally closed Clip and I reopened it. So.
When you reopen and rejoin, it makes it the big screen and makes all of the rest of us really small. So it's cool, weird. But since you can't see it, you might want to just give me a heads up when you do that. Because I'm not looking up there at all. Everybody's gone to bed. There's nobody over there. We have one viewer. So everybody done gone to bed. So I figure I'm just going to keep drawing rocks, which is what apparently I'm doing.
So I am going to weigh in on that, the dead name thing. Because it's becoming a pet peeve of mine with other people. And this has nothing to do with Pepper or anyone that we know. or at least no one I know. But it's this idea of that person that hates the idea of the dead name. They're also the first person to bitch when it comes to, oh, well, you shouldn't be stepping on. I should be able to do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're going to have a "Don't Step on Me" sticker on your car, then you have no right to complain about what somebody else does.
Yeah, that's one of my big things. You know, it somehow became your problem that I want to be called, Snurgleblatt.
Yeah.
Even if I introduce myself to you as Snurgleblatt and you've never known me as Guy, somehow this is my fault of imposing myself upon you. I've noticed that too. I've got a nibbling who goes by they, them, has a new name, and is happy as a clam. And doesn't, I felt it in the beginning. There's a little bit of, as a kid, you really want to force the adults to respect something of yours. They have to do this because they're forced to. And that is something we try to work out of people. You shouldn't force people to do something, obviously. And I do know that there is a certain amount of that going around in the schools and stuff like that. And even my kiddo has done that from time to time. It's a little bit of a power play. And I think that's what they're responding to, is that power play. But again, it's back to my original statement, which is by default assuming people are doing the wrong thing. I'm sure that there are people out there that are power playing. I'm going to demand that you call me Emperor Guy. Okay, that's a power play. But I know somebody who goes by Queen D, and they are actually, that's just their stage name because they're into burlesque, and that's their stage name, and that's what they're known as. There's no interest in worshiping them or anything like that. That's not what they're after, right?
Mm.
And it's interesting because their old name is what their Facebook account is, and I don't know them by that. I know them by D, and they're like, I don't care what you call me. It's okay. You can call me either of those. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I don't, I have name aphasia. We're damn lucky if I can get your name out correctly after I've known you for 15 years. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing I can do about that. My brain simply does not retain names for reasons. So, once I learn a name, it's very important that we don't change the names too much on me. Otherwise, I'm lost. But as long as you don't think that there's anything malicious by it, we're okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, me calling you by your actual name every so often when we're trying really hard to use your stage name online, you're just taking it. You're letting me slip. It's because when we're in person and sitting at a restaurant, I don't call you Cayen. And so there is a little bit of a hard swatch back and forth for me, which is fine. The biggest problem that I have,
if you call me that in person, that's like, okay,
Yeah, you wouldn't care either way. But I'm using it as an example.
Yeah.
Because I have name aphasia. And this is something I'm sensitive to because I do have name aphasia. And I have offended people by misnaming them in my time, in my days. And part of the problem is it's the presumption of evil. You know what I mean? It's the presumption that they're trying to do a power play, not that there's a reason. You know what I mean? Like, Pepper's whole argument is that he doesn't want to be identified as his dad. You know?
I didn't even know he had another name.
He does. He has a
I
real
only know
name.
as Pepper, and that's fine with me. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, what difference does it make?
Yeah, I never
And
questioned it.
As I had said in the thread, his real name just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit at all. It doesn't fit. You know? So, I have made an error. Okay. So it's cool. He can be Pepper all he wants, and that is totally reasonable, and I don't have any problem with that. But yeah, I was thinking about this today. Everything that I argue with online politically is not a liberal whatever. I always am arguing about the presumption of evil. That's always what I'm into a fight over, right? And it doesn't matter what side you're on. You know, I fought against all of the Trump did X, Y, or Z, and everybody thought I was a conservative. And I'm like, no, I'm just not buying into this. Obviously, Trump is evil. You know, I would be willing to bet that he's probably misguided. I'm willing to bet that he has, but I also know that we have an obsession as humans to run away with ourselves, you know, with this Brian wronged me and I wronged him, and then he wronged me and then I wronged him, and then he wronged me and then I wronged him. We have this obsession with that. And I know that happens. And so I'm obviously skeptical every time anybody does this bad thing happened because of these people. You know, I'm instantly skeptical because we love that stuff. We're really into it. So I've been thinking a lot about this, especially in light of the situation that's just happened, which I'm still sad about. And I realized that the reason it hurts so bad is because it means that someone just presumed I was evil and shut me down and turned me off. They presumed that I was a liberal and there's just nothing they can do, and I'll never understand, and I will always just, be whatever is the belief du jour about liberals today. And that's sad, because it's not at all what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, hey, we should always...
You're assuming things about that. I'll talk to you later about that.
Okay.
So
now you have me intrigued. Did I? Okay, wait. Let me ask a quick pointed question. Did I make a mistake?
I don't know.
Okay. If I made a mistake, can we talk about it tomorrow? Because otherwise I will obsess over it all night and not sleep. So whether I made a mistake or not, let's talk about it in the morrow. So I know that you have a tendency to text me whenever when we clear stream. Can I request that you don't do that tonight? Just this night. Just tonight. Because otherwise I will stay up all night obsessing over it, and I don't want to. So let's discuss it on the morrow. Would you like to... No, because you're You're doing your ting, man. Oh, tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah.
Hell, this whole week's gone by.
Yeah.
Which means I only have a morning show tomorrow. And whether Troy is dead or not indicates whether we're going over to watch His Dark Materials tomorrow night. We've been watching His Dark Materials. Oh, that's a good show.
Dark Materials?
His Dark Materials.
I don't know what that is.
It's the Golden Compass books. Are you familiar with the Golden Compass?
Yeah, well, a little bit.
With the talking bear and stuff like that. And the girl who, Lila, who is, it's a steampunk fantasy. Anyway, HBO
steampunk fantasy thing, yeah.
HBO made a series out of it with the girl who played X-23 in Logan as the main character.
Interesting.
So, anyway, even if this is not the situation that you're talking about, even if there's a mitigating circumstance, I think I'm starting to realize one of the reasons why it makes me so sad when people block me. And that's because if it is indeed because they blocked me because I'm being liberal or whatever, that's like a loss in my book. It's like that means that I wasn't conveying properly that I'm just trying to get people to stop presuming the worst. Because this started a while.
But aren't you doing that right now? In regards to this?
Maybe. You are absolutely right. I'm presuming the worst out of the situation with this individual, which I appreciate you telling me to back off on, because it's totally the thing. But it has been before where I have gone in and said, hey, this situation isn't what it seems. And they've literally called me libtard. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a presumption.
No.
They clearly, I'm not presuming the worst out of them. They wrote me off as a stupid liberal. And you can also tell by the pointed questions. The EV fight is a great example of this. I'll go in and say, hey, my car doesn't do this. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, what do you think about children mining lithium? And I'm like, what? No children mine lithium in my car. Like, that's not even what I brought up. That's not what I said. So they're clearly running the conservative anti-liberal line on me. And that wasn't what I said. All I was saying was my car ran fine in the cold, And since the article was all about how EVs are horrible in the cold, I think the article's probably full of bunk. Yeah. And so it's like, that's all I was saying. I wasn't even saying anything about how we should drive EVs or how we should all convert to EVs or how Biden was a god because he's, I wasn't even getting into that. And that's what I mean by presuming the worst. And you are right. if this situation has mitigating circumstances that aren't involved, then I am presuming the worst out of this one. I do know that he and I had made some interesting discussions about conservatism and liberalism. And so I had just, since that's the pattern that seems to occur, I had made the assumption that I was unfriended and blocked over that. Because I can't imagine I did anything else that wouldn't make that happen. But, hey, sometimes but even then, it's still assuming the worst, like it's assuming that I meant to hurt him or something, so anyway, that's also borrowing trouble. So I'm going to wait for you to talk to me and stop borrowing trouble.
Yeah.
This is going to be a pretty bridge.
I don't know why I'm suddenly drawing a goblin.
I don't know. You're into goblins, man. This is your thing. It's all right. March of Robots starts soon. And I'll be marching and robotsing as we do. Anyway, I did have stuff to talk about. I just didn't want to bring everybody down. You're like, do you want to talk? And I'm like, no, not at all. No.
I can tell you want to talk. No.
Right? What's so funny is I was talking to my therapist and she asked me a question and I hesitated and she's like, do you not want to talk about this? And I'm like, no, I will talk about anything. My concern is you started out by saying we were going to talk about this problem. And now you asked me a question. And I know I'm going to rabbit hole. So the question is, will I get in trouble for rabbit holing us? Because I am more than willing to talk about it. I work really hard to not have any secrets. So it's like, I'm open. I'll talk about anything. But then the question is, no, wait a minute. I will talk about anything, but am I going to get in trouble for it? So you were like, do you want to talk about something? I'm like, yes, Bob. And you're like, okay, so we're not. Okay. You want to talk about anything? Yes. The thing I'm talking about dead naming. It's like, oh, well. So now I have put my little soaking pools outside the showers, which makes sense. And I took down the wall between the showers and this area. And I think that works. I do think this area needs to be sealable. Because I think what's going to happen is, and this actually should work really well for the way the story works, and that is, any area where crew will be without their uniform needs to be sealed capsules. So that way, like showers, because if you were to experience an explosive decompression while in the shower, you wouldn't have a spacesuit, right? Your spacesuit automatically seals up in an explosive decompression, but doesn't help you if you're in the shower and not wearing your spacesuit, you know?
Although, I could really suck. Okay, I'm gonna go hit the shower. It's been like 14 hours. I'm feeling extremely dirty and I just want a hot shower.
Right.
And the next thing, they're just in the vacuum of space.
All I wanted was a stupid hot shower. Is that so much to ask? But yeah, I was thinking about that one because there's an episode that I'm writing down the road called Weave. And in that episode, they come up on a Commonwealth destroyer and it's offline. And the first thing they do is check the core to see if the core has people in it, because all spacecraft would have, anybody who wasn't in a spacesuit would be in the core. So, like in this ship, core is this deck pretty much entirely. Everything to the quarterdeck, where it has this firewall, this little like triangle section right here to the water tanks in the back. It's the little city that the ship runs on. But like all the lifeboats are here. Because the assumption is, if you've got your uniform on, you could be thrown out into space itself. And the worst thing you'd have to do is figure out how to swim back to the ship, That's going to be your biggest problem. Because the suit, your uniform is going to, and that's why the uniform has the little RC thrusters, so you can push yourself with thrust to get back to the ship. So you get back to the ship, and then you go into the core, and then you lock yourself in, and you've got food and water, and air.
And everything you need.
Yeah, you can live for weeks in the core until somebody finds you. But I feel like they would have like these cool, like not rubber, but something like rubber diaphragms that just close over the doors until the big steel doors close and lock. So as soon as the pressure changes, they're like parachutes. They just go into the doors and then plug the doors up. And then the big steel doors can close. And then that way you only lose like a small amount of air.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. I gotta change the music.
Go for it.
It's starting to eat at me.
Yeah.
Remember how I said that something about Colorado weather? It at some point we hit a 7-day cycle.
Yes.
Hey, Donald. Well, we're in the 7-day cycle. The next snowstorm comes through on Wednesday.
Yeah.
The 7-day cycle apparently is Wednesday this year. This year, the day is Wednesday. Last year was Saturday, and that was irritating because I always had games on Saturday. And we couldn't go to games. We ended up always doing Roll20 online. How you doing there, Donald? Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you're hanging.
Alive and kicking.
Alive. Oh. Too much. Oh, because you're still having problems with your apartment, aren't you? Sorry to hear that, my friend. Three and a half meters by 3 meters is not very big.
About the size of a womp rat.
Makes me think that meeting room should be bigger. Rec meeting room 2 and 3 should just be rec meeting room 2.
How big is it?
3 by 3.5.
3 meters by 3.5.
Yeah.
So it's a 6 by 6, 6 by 7.
It'd be 9 feet by 9, 10, 11 feet. 9 by 11. 9 by 11 is not so bad, but for a meeting room?
It's a little on the smaller side. Maybe for like a couple people, like a small meeting room.
Yeah. I don't know any resources to help you, Donald. Well, no, let me think about that. Because there's real estate options, I think. So let me ponder it. I'll float this out to a buddy of mine and see if he's got any thoughts. You know, nothing to execute, just some thoughts. See if there's anything we can do. Would there be like a little like saloon or a bar or
Just a general one?
general bar? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean like a little bar in the back of the ship.
Probably.
I think so too. I think there'd be some kind of depending on the size of the ship. If only we had a Navy person here. Okay, Donald, expertise time. So it's not a PT boat, and it's probably still slightly larger than a sub. But it's not a carrier. So maybe frigate sized? Thereabouts? Would we have a little bar in there? It's like 30 feet. Right? Yeah, but I think the Unity Navy is a little less restricted. So I feel like it wouldn't be secret. That's fair. Right. That's what I was thinking too, is the amount of time that you have on the ship. But even then, I'm thinking I wouldn't put it on that deck. I'd put it up here in this observation room. That seems like the right place for it, because then you have these big windows and it becomes 10 forward. Effectively. I mean, you'd come through from the quarter deck. So it'd just be a straight shot up from the quarter deck. What's up, my kitty brother?
I haven't heard the cup get knocked over tonight.
Oh, it's because he's already knocked it over. Ryan went to bed early tonight.
Ah.
So she went to bed early, and so George was after that cup within like minutes, but it was like 9:30 when he did it. Also, one more thing about the idea of presuming the worst. I'm very aware that I too am a human being and very susceptible to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I also feel like this is not going to be as uptight about that. They're not going to be as worried.
I feel like two different thoughts just got mashed together.
Right. I'm talking to Donald because he's talking about an old chief regular has a stash of occasional liquor. And I think you're right. I think there would be, but I've got to think about what the stash is, because I don't think liquor is going to be as big of a deal, because it's going to affect every race differently, right? Because each race will be different. So, like, you could give a bunch of alcohol to a Shakrana, and they'll be like, "Okay, thanks, Merry Christmas." You know, like it's not going to affect them. So, got to come up with the thing that affects all of the races. You know what I mean? Like the alcohol that affects all of the races. I'll have to think that one out. Yeah, I think that's going to be the big thing. As long as you're not inebriated on duty, I don't think they're going to worry too terrible much. And I mean, because if you are inebriated too much, then they're going to remand you to the psychologist. You know? Sure. And like, I drink a beer from time to time. Shrug. But it doesn't, I've got nothing. Like, it doesn't really bother me or affect me or anything like that. So, it's not that big of a deal. And I don't drink to excess. So, however, I do eat to excess, which is a problem. That's true. That's true. We've seen that one more than once. Where he just walks on there and oh. Right. Sorry, Donald, but need you on duty. I know you just got really drunk, but here you go. Damn it. Why'd you do that to me? That's interesting. I was just talking about this very kind of thing, and it's on my Instagram. Yeah. So the thing about Babylon 5, my dear friend, season 4, about part of the way through the very beginning of season 4, they canceled Babylon 5. So the writers scrambled because it was supposed to be a 5-season show. The writers scrambled in season 4 to wrap up as many loose ends as they possibly could and get to an arc ending to end at the end of season 4. About halfway through that, after they had started shooting and putting everything together and doing all the things, then they decided to uncancel Babylon 5 and give it one more season. But by then, they had wrapped everything up. So they rushed to finish in season 4 and really messed up season 4 because they couldn't do all the arcs they were planning on doing it. And then they were given season 5, where now they had nothing else left to wrap up. So it borked season 4 and 5 because of that. So most of us are like, well, so when you watch season 4 and 5, watch it with that knowledge, knowing that that's what was going on behind the scenes and why everything gets flighty and weird and you end up with random weird. Right, exactly. The storylines were all over the place. And it was because they were rushing to try to finish and seal up everything. And it was just such a mess. Such a freaking mess. And it's a shame, too, because Babylon 5 is one of my absolute favorites. Yeah, they lost some of the writers. J. Michael Straczynski had a very specific plan for Babylon 5. And the problem was that whole we're canceling it, oh wait, I mean psych thing made him mad. And rightfully so. Because he fought for that 5th season and lost. And so they canceled him. And so then they came back and said, never mind, we're uncanceling you. He's like, you people are sucky jerks. I hate you. So that's what happened. And that's why Babylon 5's 4th season and 5th season are rough. It is legitimately sucky. I am completely shiftless tonight.
Yeah.
I am out of commission, and I don't know what my problem is. I'm sad, is what it is.
Yeah, I think you're...
depressy.
Yeah, I think you swallowed a very hard pill earlier tonight.
Yeah.
And I want to help you with that.
But you can't live.
Huh?
You can't do it live.
No.
Yep.
And you requested I talk about it later. So, the thing that I was going to give you hope on, I have to wait on.
I appreciate it. Well, no, wait a minute. If it's going to give me hope and won't make me obsessed, that's a different story. You know me well enough. You can make a good judgment call. I have faith in you. You've yanked me out of those spirals before, sometimes kicking and screaming and with both hands.
And forcibly.
Yep, you've had to do it. And you've done a fine job, thank you.
Yes.
You are a lovely friend.
Yeah. And
I very much appreciate you. I appreciate you too, Donald. I'm just saying. Game of Thrones. I don't know. I didn't mind Game of Thrones' last episode. So many people were like,
the problem I have with Game of Thrones, particularly the last season, is here it is, their epic season, and they screwed up so many basic things. Like having that one episode so dark that the TVs could not
make out
get
anything.
enough game to figure out what was going on. Like,
I remember
that's a boneheaded choice.
That didn't bother me for a weird reason. And that was because I was drawing while watching those shows, so I wasn't watching them anyway. I was just listening. You know?
Yeah,
so everybody was like, that whole episode was dark. And I was like, oh, it was? Because I wasn't paying attention, you know?
Yeah. But then when you look at it, they have to brighten it to the point in which it loses a lot.
Yeah. And there was a Starbucks cup. I don't understand what you're talking about by Ed Sheraton. Is they a show? Because I don't know. Right? How does the mother of dragons get killed without the dragons killing everybody who killed the mother of dragons? I could see that. Yeah, I don't know. I think that might not have been like the world's awesomest turn for that particular character. But and maybe it was that I wasn't that invested in Daenerys. Oh, Wizards of They. Oh. Sounds interesting. Not opposed. So Forgotten Realms. That's cool. It was a great podcast. I like listening to podcasts whenever I'm drawing too, because I don't have to see anything. You know, watching TV shows is cool when I'm doing drawing, but like For All Mankind is brutal because so much of it's visual, and if you miss this one thing, you don't quite understand what happened in the next scene. And, you know, you have to see what happened on that scene and stuff, and that was so brutal. So podcasts are great. I am completely enamored with Critical Role, which is funny because I play my own D&D game. I don't know why I'd be enamored listening to somebody play a D&D game. You'd think that'd be a stupid thing to do. No dying. Going ahead and take my melatonin pill so that that sounds cool. Does it make it? I'm curious whether this works. And it doesn't. Well, does it have to be in the upper corner? And why doesn't it not? It doesn't beep. I don't get the boopy thingy. Yeah, I'm trying to get the boopy thingy. It's about that time. But I'm trying to boopy. So we've got this ability up here to add these new QR codes. But I don't know whether it's working or not. So I guess I can add like all of that. Wow, look at all that. Did it work? Like, that was a lot of stuff. I should edit it. What does that do? Earn cash from live streaming. That didn't help any. Okay, but did you beep the thingy, Donald? Did you beep the thingy and did it work? Well, I need to edit that before we go. Because this needs to be... Okay, that's fair. So 2 people beeped the QR code, but neither one of them were you. Well, okay. We'll have to mess with this tomorrow morning because I'm tired and I don't know where Cayen went. Hope he's okay. But I'm clearing out of the stream because it's oh no. It should be fine. It leads to a restream page anyway at the moment, so don't worry about it. It went like I don't know where it went. It went somewhere. Cayen's. I'm messing with the dumb QR codes plus images over here. So I just was messing with them and seeing if anybody could actually bloop them. But now it's 12:04. And I want to go home to sleep. And you probably do too. So let's go do that.
Sounds good.
I will talk to you later, my dear friend.
I will talk to you later.
I'm totally okay with that, Donald. Like I said, I was just trying to. They added these QR codes, and it was like you can just bring in a QR code, and I was like, well, okay, but what if I change the address? Does the QR code go to our Ko-Fi, or does it still go to the Restream thing? So, anyway, okay, I'm heading out of here, my friend. I will see you, Donald, later on. I will see you later on as well, Cayen. If you want to chat with me at some point, maybe tomorrow during the day when you get up and get moving, we could probably start a stream that doesn't stream, and you can chat
Sounds
with me.
good.
So I will chat with you later. And as always, guys, keep your eyes on the stars. Goodbye.